Christen Gibson from the Eastern Progress, the newspaper at Eastern Kentucky University. This is the first episode of The Way It's Told. We dive deep into people's passions and how they live that in their life. And you have lived that in your life, and it's landed you on American Idol. You're from Lancaster,
It sure has.
Kentucky. And how do you feel about that?
Well, I'm very thankful that I've got this opportunity to be on American Idol, and as being a small town boy, it is very humbling to see yourself on national television.
I can imagine. Now, we'll talk a little bit about your American Idol journey, but I want to dive into where it all began. When did you fall in love with music?
Whenever I was about 3 years old or so, I started singing in church. It was kind of just, every kid goes through a phase where they sing.
Yeah.
And my real passion at that age was I had old Thomas the Tank Engine or something like that. I used to watch those shows all the time. I really was interested in trains. And I got a few train sets when I was a kid, and had a little, I don't know what they're called, a little train set, and I'd play with that. And I got a big country music fan. Is there any music about trains? And he pointed me to a Hank Williams song called The Pan American. And I learned that song, and I learned all the other songs off the album, and been singing ever since.
That's amazing. So you said your grandpa kind of inspired you to dive into playing music?
He sure did.
How old were you?
I was probably 4 or 5 years old whenever this was all happening. It happened very quickly, and from that I started taking guitar lessons at about 6. So somewhere in there.
Do you remember the first song you ever learned how to play?
Yeah, I learned an old Hank Williams song called "My Bucket's Got a Hole in It, Can't Buy No Beer."
Oh, I love it. And you were probably around, you said 6 years old when you learned that.
I was about 6 years old. Yes, ma'am.
That's awesome. So on American Idol, you actually auditioned with an original song that you wrote.
Yeah.
When did you start writing music?
I started writing music about the time that I started. I mean, the songs weren't very good. Don't get me wrong. They weren't the best. They were just little old things I'd come up with. But that slowly progressed into things that are all right, and I guess things progressed into pretty good now.
And everybody has to start somewhere. Do you remember the first thing that you wrote that you were really emotionally attached to, that you said, man, this could be good, or maybe it just meant a lot to you personally?
Actually, the song I auditioned with is the one I would consider my first real good one. I wrote that in the middle of a 6th grade science class, so I guess it shows how much attention I was paying to my classes. But I wrote that song in the middle of that class, and it was in its rough forms, and it finally shaped up into something that I thought was presentable to the American Idol judges.
That's awesome. So what type of music stages have you went throughout your life? Every kid goes through them, and kind of when you started out at 6 all the way to now. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
When I first started, I actually started singing like Josh Turner songs and Alan Jackson songs. And I loved their sound and was like, where in the world did this come from? So I started looking to the past, and I went all the way from Alan Jackson, Josh Turner, back to Jimmy Rogers, and found my real calling right in the Hank Williams era of traditional country music, and love all types of music. I mean, I love blues and jazz, and like a little hip hop every now and then too. So I mean, I'm all over the place.
So you just love music in general.
I really do.
That's awesome. So is there a song from maybe some of those people that inspired you that when you hear it, it just brings joy to your life? I believe everybody that has any connection with music has that song. What song is that for you?
Well, I always go back to the first song that ever got me interested. And it was the Hank Williams song "Pan American." It came, life came full circle for me at a young age. So
Awesome. So what part of that song do you feel most connected to?
I just like the beat of the song. I would say it's a
Mhm.
very train like sounding song, and I remember liking the lead picking part or the guitar playing part, kind of towards the middle of the song, and that inspired me to want to play guitar, and I picked her up.
Now, when did you start playing in front of a crowd?
My first, I would call, real show was on the square in Lancaster. There was quite a big audience at the tobacco festival we have in Lancaster, and I went up and I wore a big old cowboy hat and a white shirt and blue jeans and the old belt with my name on it and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, and I wore women's boots too because I couldn't find a size to fit me. I wanted white boots as a kid, I really did, and so the only ones I could find was women's shoes. I don't let that get out, but
Well, I think the cat's out of
but
the
that's the
bag
first time.
now.
That's right.
But you made it happen. How did you feel the first time that you auditioned? I'm sure you were, or not auditioned, but the first time you played there in Lancaster. Were you nervous, and how did you feel while you were doing it?
Well, I'd sang in church a little bit and done a few little talent shows around, so I was kind of used to a stage at that point.
Hmm.
Um, but when I got up there, I've looked at music the same way ever since I was about that age. People are going to like it or they won't, and you can't really change people's opinion of it either way. So just do your thing, and if they like it, good. If they don't, well, that's all right too.
That's a great outlook on life. Now, do you remember the first time you performed that you really thought to yourself, "Man, I might can do this for life. Like this is my thing."
I will say the first time I auditioned at Renfro Valley um, back in about 2012, and I was, I don't know, I was probably 10, 11, somewhere in there, and I actually got picked to be on the regular shows for 2 years, and I remember feeling really accomplished and really proud of myself for that. And that was the time I was like, well, Alex, if you get on Aaron for Valley, then you can get on other shows too. And it's kind of like where I am now.
So, when was the moment that you decided, "Hey, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna audition for American Idol"? When was that moment in your life?
Well, it actually hasn't been that long ago. It was back in about September or so, I would say. Me and my mom had a long conversation about what I was going to do after high school, and as many kids my age do. And she said, "Well, I'm going to sign you up for something." And so I said, "All right, whatever." She said, "Well, I'm going to sign you up for American Idol." I was like, "All right, whatever. They ain't going to have no time for me. They ain't going to want to fool with me." But I was very wrong. Auditioned. The one producer said, "Well, we like it. We're going to send y'all this other guy." So they sent me on to the other guy, and he said, "Well, we like it. We're going to send you on to their head producer that was in charge of the whole audition process at that point." And I said, "Well, we like you, kid. We're going to get you a ticket and send you out to the audition spot in San Diego." And I said, "Well, that's all right. Where's the plane? Let me go." So it all worked itself out, and I can't be more thankful.
That's amazing. How was traveling for you? Have you really traveled outside of the state much, or went any places? I mean, you've been to Hollywood now, right?
Yes, I'm going to Hollywood pretty soon, so I'm looking forward to that. I do like to travel. Been on many trips. I've been to Washington D.C., been to most of the states around Kentucky. We've tried to visit at least somewhere there. I've also went to Dallas, Texas. We went down there and saw some things, and just to get away. It was kind of just a vacation trip. I like going to the beach. It's just like everybody. I'm just a regular old Joe.
Definitely. Now, in your American Idol audition, the little video before you actually audition, you were talking about how you enjoy the small town life and that you wouldn't have it any other way. Can you explain what that looks like in your life and how it's inspired your music?
Having a small town has made me be myself a little more, I would say. There's not too many people around here doing the kind of music that I do, so I have to kind of stick out even more in that regard. So I try to develop my style and make myself as interesting as I can. And having that community support behind me has also drove me to keep going and not give it up.
Awesome. And I think me being from Eastern Kentucky University, we're cheering you on here
Well,
at
thank you.
EKU. And I mean, Kentucky, you know how it is with Kentucky basketball. And if you find something that's good in the good old Bluegrass State, they're going to support you. So I have faith that you're going to go far in this.
Well, I really hope so too. And I'm looking forward to the next round and stick around a while.
Definitely. Now you said your grandpa inspired you and kind of got you
Mhm.
started on this journey. What does he think about all of this now? What's kind of advice that he gives you now?
He just he's always said is go out there and be yourself, Alex, and have fun. And he actually graduated from EKU. He's
Oh,
a Garrett County boy that went over to EKU and graduated. He back in the '70s, I think, whenever he went over there. But he he's very supportive. He's always been my go-to guy when it comes to any advice because he knows. I don't know. He's just got that gut instinct, and I can't be more proud to have him in my life.
amazing. And what is his name?
Well, that's kind of a funny thing. He really only has two initials as a name. His
Really?
name is GB, and they don't stand for nothing. They're just him. He's so unique they couldn't even give him a name.
Now you said you're in high school, right? Are you in high school right
I
now?
sure am, senior.
How has
Yes,
that
I am.
been? How has that been balancing American Idol life and the attention that you've gotten and your music? And also during the pandemic, are you working from home or are you actually going to school right now?
Well, we were going to school before all the snow hit, but we're still doing in school. I'm actually supposed to go. Hopefully, we can start back Monday, but I'm doing in school. I'll tell you one thing: people really have been supportive of me at the high school. They've been very understanding of my schedules. I've had a lot of new and exciting things come up, and they've really been behind me and not give me too much grief over things. And I'll tell you about the students. A lot of them have been really nice and told me that they were news finally happening to me.
That's awesome. So it looks like you got a lot of support. Now, you were talking about you were having a conversation with your mom to say, what are you going to do after high school? That kind of led you to being on American Idol. What's that kind
It
of,
did.
what are you thinking about right now as for after graduation?
Well, I probably need to get a good education, but I'm going to ride this music out as long as I can because you can always come back and take school and college. And I'm going to see how the music is going. It's going pretty good right now, and hope it continues to keep going pretty good. But we're going to stick it out as long as we can.
Definitely. I mean, once you find your music and you find what you love to do, you just dive in.
When you find what you love to do, it ain't work no more. It's just doing what you love.
I think everybody desires that, and that's kind of the purpose behind this podcast, the way it's told. Because as we talk to you, and I think anybody that talks to you, everybody
Mhm.
realizes you love what you do and you're passionate about what you do, and there's beauty in that.
Well, I appreciate that. I've always been very adamant about what I want to do. Has always been music, and I think if, like you said, anybody that gets to know me or knows me will say that too.
Now, do you have any advice for anybody that maybe they're just starting to discover that, man, I like music. Maybe I should learn how to play guitar or start singing, but maybe they're just kind of afraid to break that barrier. What would you tell those people?
I would tell those people to always one, be yourself, and two, have fun, and three, you're never the best you're going to be. You always need to keep trying to better yourself. Yeah, it don't matter what you play or how you sing or what doesn't matter. There's always more things you can learn and always more things that you can come to understand. And that's one thing I've been learning through this whole American Idol thing is that people have different tastes. And if you're doing something and people don't like it, well, there's somebody out there that does. And you just got to look for those people.
Definitely. Now, I see you got your guitar behind you. Would you be
Mm-hmm.
opposed to singing a little riff or something for us?
I would love to, but I think Lauren would have to say no to that one.
I
I got in trouble the other
understand.
day.
It's all good. I just figured I asked.
No problem. No problem.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on The Way It's Told. I'm Christen Gibson, and I'm with the Eastern Progress at Eastern Kentucky University. And I'm so
Mhm.
glad that you, Alex Miller, could join us today and have a little conversation.
Well, thank you, Kristen. I appreciate you having me on today, and I hope I've told it the way it needs to be told.
Oh, you most definitely did. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day, and thank you guys
You
for
too,
listening.
Kristen.